guys, my name is Miss Kyler Duncan and I am a new piano teacher at Hammer Strings Conservatory. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about how the piano works. We see the piano a lot already assembled and we're very used to seeing these black and white keys. But I wanted to talk about what makes the piano have sound because it's so important to know how it works in order to play it correctly. One thing I like to talk about a lot in my lessons is this little piece of fabric or felt right here. So we talk a lot about squishing that felt so we don't have our ghost notes or weak sounds. And this is underneath all of the keys. And as we play those keys, it makes this squish down a little bit and it doesn't hit the wood and make a noise. So this is super important. Another thing that we're going to talk about is actually part of the reason why our conservatory is called Hammer and Strings. When we play these keys, you'll see these things called hammers pop up. And when they pop up, when I hit the key, it actually hits the strings in the soundboard up here, and that's what produces the sound in a piano. So if I slide this back in, it still makes the right sounds, although this piano, George, my good friend, is out of tune. But I do not recommend taking your piano apart if you do not know how, because I've had a lot of years of practice and lots of teachers showing me how to do this. I'm going to show you how the piano works from inside the soundboard now. So this is a bit of a different angle than we're used to seeing. Right here we have our strings. We're going to talk about those first. Each of our higher notes on George have 3 strings for each of these notes. I've seen some pianos with 4. And then down here, we have 2 in our bass, and those are actually wrapped in copper wire. And then our lower bass notes, which have 1 string because of the deeper resonance. And so our big Bosendorfer in Franz Liszt Hall is actually, it has extra notes at the bottom to add more resonance, even though those notes are not played in any of our normal pieces unless they're contemporary. But we have all of these notes right here, 3 to each string that are tuned to the same note. So if we play this, it's playing all 3 strings. You'll notice right here, when I play a note, this damper right here comes up. So all of these are dampers. When I play a note, which that one is actually broken a little bit, we'll play this one. When we play a note, our damper comes up, making the string produce. The second I let go of the string, or if I press on it, the sound stops. So it's the same thing. It's kind of like a bunch of fingers putting their finger back down. So then the sound stops as soon as the sound is done. So that's why when we lift up our fingers from the keyboard, it stops playing. You'll notice that when I press down the damper pedal, which is the far right pedal on most pianos, that if I press this down, all of our dampers come up. And that is what makes that echoey sound. You'll notice if I talk really loud, it kind of has a little bit of an echo to it, which is kind of cool. But if I play a scale with the damper down, it sounds a little bit more like this. And if you look super close right there, you can even see the hammers coming up and hitting the strings as we do it, because that's how the piano produces its sound. One last thing we'll talk about is when we press our soft pedal, what happens. And we're going to go back to the original angle to show you how that works. All right, we're going to talk about the soft pedal real quick. When we play our soft pedal, which is normally our far left pedal, what happens in a baby grand piano, or at least George, is all of these shift to the right just a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see, but you can hear it. And when they shift, actually, it plays less of the strings. So we talked a little bit about the 3 strings that they play. Instead of playing 3, they play 2, which makes less sound. On an upright piano, this is different. So on an upright piano, which I also have one in the other room, instead of the hammer shifting and playing less strings, they actually become closer to the notes, which makes them hit it less hard, which is very interesting. So all pianos are a little bit different, all different brands, but they generally work like this. So as we are learning in our lessons, let's focus more on playing with that depth and playing all of the felt, kind of squishing it a little bit more as we're doing that. And then also thinking about how we play our pedal, why that's important, and why it's important when we let go of the key because of how it affects the sound. So there's that super interesting lesson. and it's one of my favorite things to do. Don't take apart your pianos at home unless you know what you're doing.